Hi, my name is Chrissy and I'm part of the Haas EMBA 2025 program here at UC Berkeley. And I am in my second term of the program. This is the Executive MBA program. And I wanted to do a quick video about some tips for term one because I feel like term one is the hardest because you don't know what's going on, you don't know what to expect as you're starting the program. And so these are a few tips that helped me along the way and maybe can help you. So quick backstory on me, I started the program in July of 2023 and it is now January of 2024. I've been traveling from Los Angeles to go to school here at Berkeley, and so I wanted to just, again, share some tips that might help you along the way. So my first tip is to find your rhythm and adjust your schedule to that. So what I mean by find your rhythm is just understanding whether you're a morning person or a night person, kind of understanding when you're at that like peak productivity level and really trying to tailor your schedule around that. So for example, I'm more of a morning person than a night person. And so what really helped me in terms of doing my schoolwork on top of working full time is doing schoolwork before work. So what I do is I'll get up early, I'll do breakfast, family stuff, get ready, all of that, and then I'll go outside of the house to go study for an hour or two, depending on how early I get up. I will get up early and do at least an hour before work starts. And that has been huge because 1 hour of productive awake Chrissy is worth like 4 hours of tired Chrissy trying to get through some material at night. So again, just kind of understand your schedule, understand when you're at your, most awake basically to tackle some of that schoolwork. You can also kind of adjust your plan for your schoolwork knowing that flow of energy. So for example, for me, I really try to do the subjects that are really difficult for me early in the morning. So that's usually the quantitative ones like economics. I'll try to tackle that stuff early in the morning when those really difficult concepts don't seem as scary, versus the stuff at night I'll save, like the marketing, things that are a little more in my wheelhouse that I feel less confused as I'm reading through the material. So even that kind of knowing, okay, what's the hardest, most challenging thing? Can I do that when I'm most productive? And the stuff that might come slightly easier or requires just less brain power, can I do that later when I'm more tired? My next tip is to try out different techniques, but make your decision quickly. So try out blocking, try out studying all the subjects a little bit every day. Try using pen and paper, try using iPads, I would really recommend testing out which one is going to work best for you, but then trying to settle in more quickly. For myself, I was doing the paper pen route for the first half or so of my first block, and then suddenly I got an iPad, and it was a huge game changer for me, and I loved it. But when it came to studying for finals, it was such a mess because I had a stack of papers and I had some things on iPad and I was trying to remember what was on the paper and what was on the iPad, and it just got kind of messy. And so I really recommend, try to do that testing maybe before block or for the first block, but then decide, okay, this is going to be my flow at least for this term, and then you can make adjustments from there. My next tip is to find tools to help you. I think what's really exciting is that coming back to school right now, when there's all of these AI tools and a lot of ed tech going on, there's a lot of really cool stuff out there. I mean, I don't even know all of the things that are out there, but some of the things like Khan Academy has been amazing to just understand other concepts a little bit deeper. Speechify has been fantastic. Speechify will read your notes to you. Speechify is something that as a mom has been a game changer because I can listen to my books or my readings while I'm making dinner for my daughter or trying to fold laundry, so it just really helps me be able to multitask, which I kind of unfortunately have to do most of the time. But even when I'm not multitasking, even when I'm just sitting there with the material in front of my face, I feel like I take it in better when I can hear it and see it at the same time. So I love Speechify. And ChatGPT, I know that's maybe like a controversial one, but I really believe that we should be using all of these AI tools to help us instead of being afraid, because they're here, they're not going anywhere. So I feel like it's better to learn how to utilize these tools and share that with people, share how you're using them. I love learning how other people are using AI to be a student, to be an artist, So I think that's something that you should definitely test out and utilize as a student. And again, I'm sure there's so many other softwares, tools, programs out there. I'd love to know what you guys are using. If you have any advice for me, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, don't be afraid to look for other tools to help your studying. My next tip is to not be afraid to delegate to your study group. So there's going to be a lot of material that comes your way, and luckily you're assigned to a study group right at the beginning, and so there's some times where you just need to divide and conquer. Lean on your study group, ask for help there. It's better to work together than to struggle alone. Which brings me to my next tip, which is don't be afraid to just raise your hand and say, I'm lost, I don't get it. A lot of the times other people are feeling the same way as you and maybe aren't speaking up about it. I think I'm the one that's usually lost and not speaking up about it, so I very much appreciate my classmates who are saying, hey, can we slow down, or hey, can we play that back because I did not get it the first time. I'm 99% sure someone else is feeling the same way, and it's not going to get better unless somebody speaks up and lets the professors and the GSIs know where you guys are at. And then when you do speak up, then you can get help, right? Then your classmates are going to step in, your study group's going to step in, the professors, the GSIs are going to step in and try and help you and bring you up. So don't be afraid to say that you're confused. My next piece of advice is to come in with a plan with what you want to get out of this program. I know you probably already wrote that down for your admissions essay, but it's really good to make sure that that's still resonating with you when you're starting the program, because as soon as you get in here, there's so much stuff going on and there's so much just going to be thrown your way, and it's easy to forget, oh wait, what was I actually trying to get out of this, and it's okay that it changes, it's going to change as you see all of these things that are happening, but to have that goal in your mind of, okay, this was the mission, this is why I wanted to do this program in the first place. It's so helpful, especially on the days that are really tough, to remember, oh yeah, I chose to be here, I want to be here, and this is why. Another tip is to ask the other classes, which at this point, if you're watching the video, that's going to be us, the class of 2025. So the EMBA program is a 2-year program, which means that at any given time, there are 2 active classes studying at Haas. So by the time the class of 2026 starts, we'll be in our 2nd year, our final year. And so our class is here to help, we've been through that first year, we get the struggles, and I think it's really great that, of course, you have your class that you're with, but don't be afraid to utilize the other class that's here too, because we're sort of living in the future, and we can tell you what we've seen and what to expect, and maybe some helpful tips like this. Another tip I had for studying is to find all the materials before. Now, I hope that they get a little bit more organized with this by the time the next class comes, but I found that there's a lot of disorganization between different professors across different classes on where exactly materials are located. So sometimes I spend more time than I'd like just trying to find the material. Like, oh wait, was that on this cloud, or was it in this reader, or was it in an announcement, or so there's a lot of places for files to be stored. It's all digital, but it gets lost in this internet space, So my advice is to get all the links either organized or get the files downloaded the night before, so when you wake up in the morning and you want to jump into studying, you can just jump straight in. Because I know for me, Nothing kills my momentum more than when I'm like ready to study, I've got my matcha, I'm excited, and then like I spend 15 minutes just trying to find the PDF, and then I get kind of frustrated and it sort of kills the energy. So I recommend set yourself up for the next day, go to bed, and then you can just dive in. The next tip I have is for those of you who are not strong on math like myself, you don't come from a quantitative background, I highly recommend that you take the pre-math course that they offer at Haas. So once you get accepted, they will offer this math course. It'll be kind of during the spring/summer before you start your term. And I did most of it, but I did not finish everything, mostly because I was already taking 2 other math classes that I had to take for my MIT application. And so even just taking those courses, even again, kind of regardless of math specifically, even taking that course just to start to get yourself in the swing of things, of that routine of having to study again, like, okay, like what I was saying earlier, starting to find your schedule, like, okay, mornings seem to be working better for me, or oh yeah, I'm really loving taking notes on paper, or yeah, just getting in the routine of studying something is already helpful. But then again, if you're not a quantitative person, taking those math classes is such a huge help to get yourself prepped. I know for me also, I'm not really strong in Excel. I only use Excel for some basic functions at work. And so you don't need to be an expert by any means for these classes, but I think what would have helped me if I had done a few more of the Excel tutorials before I started. And Haas did have some resources for that, but unfortunately I didn't quite get through them all before I started. So that's something I would recommend as well if you need some Excel help. And I have one tip if you're a commuter student like myself. I highly recommend making a little list of the stuff that you'll need for block. I find that for the first couple blocks, I was always missing something. Like, oh, this time I forgot the toothpaste. Oh, this time I forgot my nameplate. Oh, this time I forgot the charger for my iPhone. And so, I mean, this might just be a general tip if you're traveling. You're probably a pro traveler and you don't need this tip, but for me, it was really helpful with everything going on to have a list of the stuff I know I'll always need, so I can just kind of check it off. Because I think when you have your work responsibilities going on, your family responsibilities, the schoolwork, the projects that you're working on, and then you also need to pack for this trip, yeah, just one less thing to keep in your brain at that point. And of course, you know, if you forget something, there's a Target, CVS and stuff nearby. I've even had stuff Amazon delivered to the hotel that I needed. But yeah, it just makes your life a little bit easier. And I think what's also interesting is that, you know, you might need something a little bit different, right? Like right now it's super rainy in the Bay, which is not something I usually have to deal with in LA. So having rain boots, a raincoat. Last time I forgot my umbrella, I had to get an umbrella, you know, so checking the weather beforehand. I know this is some basic stuff, but like, yeah, it's just easy with everything else going on to forget that stuff too. So yeah, again, we've got stores here, but yeah, I think that's why the bookstore has gotten a lot of my money. I'm always buying sweaters. And that's it. These are just some really basic tips that will hopefully help you make your first term a little more successful. If any of you guys have some other tips that you'd like to share with folks, please drop them down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're interested in learning more about MBA life at Berkeley, specifically the executive program, please follow along on my vlogs. I try to post every time that we come up here for classes. So yeah, thanks for tuning in and see you next time. Bye!
You say you wanna make it happen, you know what I want. Don't try to fight the heavens, good girls aren't the one.